Good evening. At this time, if you would please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready, begin. At this time, I'd like to call the meeting to order. Individuals wishing to address the City Council are requested to complete a speaker card and deliver it to City Clerk staff prior to the item being heard by the City Council. Please observe a 3-minute time limit for communications, and once called upon to speak, please state your name and city of residence for the record. So we have a couple of proclamations, recognitions, and presentations. The first one for this meeting is for Fire Prevention Week. And I would like to invite Cindy Schmitz, our fire marshal, to the podium to receive the proclamation. I think that you've probably done this before, so I'm not going to read this, but I'm going to give you just a few minutes to talk about Fire Prevention Week.
Well, fair enough. Thank you, everyone, Mayor, Council, for having me back. I can't believe it's been a year since we celebrated 100 years of celebrating fire prevention. So as we roll into the 101st year, I just wanted to extend our invitation to those viewing, those out in the audience and seeing it on social media to come on out to our fire station open houses this Saturday from 10 to 2, my apologies, at Station 5, which is Canyon Crest and Green River, Station 6, which is Upper and Main. Come see the station, see the apparatus, see the whole other arm of the fire department, which is prevention, and see what we do. I know oftentimes people don't know, so come out, ask questions. Let us help you keep your home safe, your business in compliance, and maybe even a career path, who knows? So it's going to be a beautiful day. Come out and visit us and say hi.
Shameless plug to get employees for the fire department. Did you guys want to take a picture really quick? Yeah. 101 years of fire prevention. Chief Young's been here for all 100. Thank you. Thank you for your service. Actually, probably the Young family has probably been around for close to 100 years in the fire service. Fantastic. All right, our next proclamation, because it's Manufacturing Month, and we love it. We have a video before I call our recipients down, so if we could please start the video.
I'm Alex Juttner, Director of Operations. We're here at the AMRO site, a division of Karman Space and Defense. We are an aerospace manufacturing company, specialize in launch vehicles. We've got an assembly area, we've got a machine area in the back over there, and we also have a weld shop.
Back in the 60s, remember you just strap on the rocket and go for it. It's not that way anymore. We've had numerous astronauts come through, talk to us. They want us to know them, so we know that there's an astronaut that's going to be riding in that spacecraft.
We saw the success of the Artemis launch, and we're incredibly excited and passionate about being involved in this program. We've been in Corona now for just under 2 years. We have a tremendous amount of support that we're receiving from the city. Some really good recruitment success. So we have great access to a lot of the partners that do our business with.
When you look at all of the product that AMRO does, it all comes down to 5 thousandths of posted thickness. We work hard to achieve perfection is really where we want to go with it. And that is because lives matter.
I'm amazed almost on a daily basis as to some of the manufacturers that we have here in the city of Corona and some of the wonderful things and unusual things that are being made right here. So I'd like to invite Alex Juttner, Director of Operations, and Norm Wagner, Business Development Manager at AMRO Fabricating Corporate, up to the podium. Gentlemen, thank you so much for coming up here for this proclamation for Manufacturing Month. There's a whole bunch of whereas and where-tos that I'll let you guys read, but we really appreciate that you guys have relocated here to the city of Corona. We're looking forward to our field trip out to your facility and to take a look at what it is that you guys do. And I'll give the microphone to either one of you if you want to just give a quick shout out to your company.
Sure. Well, first of all, thank you for having us. You know, we very much appreciate the council and the hospitality that we've received. AMRO has been around since 1977, and we have been in Corona now for 2 years, and our headquarters is in South El Monte. The team that's out here in Corona, we feel that we're at home, and you know, from the help that we've received from the city of Corona, the team, Ashley, and the team that Jessica, and all of the things that have been done to help us get where we are today has been absolutely incredible. It's been a pleasure, and again, we feel like we're part of the Corona family. We're thrilled to be here, and we're looking forward to the expansion that we see in the years to come. We have a lot of exciting programs that we're working on, and we have a lot of folks that are employees that are very happy to be in the Corona facility, and we're very much excited about all the opportunities that are coming down. So thank you very much for all of the assistance, all the help, and the guidance to get us to where we are today. We look forward to having some of the tours that are coming up in October, and so good things to come. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll just take a quick picture. I could tell you all of the best things were started in 1977, myself included. So. Okay. Where are we? Okay, moving on to the meeting minutes. This is the approval of the meeting minutes for September 20th, 2023. And, I'm sorry, and then here we go. Let me just, for the city council meeting of September 20th, 2023. Ms. Edwards, are there any speaker cards from the public for the meeting minutes?
Mayor, we do not have any speaker cards.
I will move. Okay, that item passes 5-0. Moving on to our consent calendar. All items on the consent calendar are considered to be routine matters, status reports, or documents covering previous city council action. The items listed on the consent calendar may be enacted in one motion with the concurrence of the city council. A council member or any person in attendance may request that an item be removed for further consideration. Would my colleagues like to pull any items for discussion?
Just number 12, please.
Just number 11, please.
Councilmember Steiner?
Yeah, I was going to pull 11 as well.
Okay. Vice Mayor?
I was gonna pull 11, but
You were.
No, you don't.
Okay. Ms. Edwards, are there any speaker cards from the public?
Mayor, yes, I have one speaker card, and it is for agenda item number 11.
Okay. Okay, I will move.
I will second.
Please vote. Okay, those items pass. Ms. Edwards, I'd like to hear from the member of the public on item number 11, whoever pulled that first.
Mayor, he's on his way down.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening, everybody. So, you know, you sort of had an inkling that some of this was going to happen because nothing at all has happened really. You know, there's a lot of talk, and you know, it's real disappointing. The whole thing's just real disappointing. I can't say I'm completely surprised, but you know. It's just, there's been a shocking lack of vision and actual work since this lab thing. These guys were the only, that I could see, these guys were the only sugar daddies that were going to come in and fix our downtown. They were the only Mr. Goodbar that was going to come in here and do it. You know, other than that, lacking a significant investment by the city on downtown, putting your money where your mouth is, building some stuff, making some stuff happen. Nothing's going to happen in downtown. Nothing. No plan, no architectural guidelines, none of that kind of stuff is going to make somebody put money downtown. It's going to be you guys spending some money downtown to make something, bringing people along. That's what it's going to take. It's going to take somebody in this room, somebody up on this dais that says, here's what we could build, and push it through, make it happen. You know, we're fixing to spend, what, $100 million on the park, but then we're still playing footsies with Dos Lagos about a performing arts center. You know, because we're going to step away from the downtown once again, and then what we're going to expect the private sector to come in here when you don't even apparently have the faith in downtown to put some serious money down there, to build something, to come up with an actual plan and start building some stuff, refurbing some stuff, do a DDA with somebody and make something happen down there. Brea did it, Fullerton did it. What, we're just inferior, we can't pull it off? Riverside did it. I saw how Riverside did it. I was down there, I was working there when it happened. It's not that hard. You know, you can sit there and everybody can whine about not having redevelopment. It just makes it, you could bond easier. You can bond now. I've heard plenty about how easy it is for us to bond because we're so awesome. So we could do it, but I haven't heard one word about it. Heard a lot of words about subsidizing Dos Lagos some more. So when we decide that Dos Lagos isn't our downtown and we decide that our downtown is really at 6th and Main, that's when something's going to happen down there. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Councilmember Steiner.
Yeah, I wanted to pull it just because it's, you know, it's a significant change, and I'm very disappointed as well. There has been some fairly substantial money on the table by us, but it didn't work out the way we had hoped with this particular individual. So if it was easy, it would have been done 30, 40 years ago, guys. So there's a lot to it, and we are doing our very best to try to get a nice downtown. It is a priority, and we're just going to keep plugging away until it's done.
And Mr. Mayor, if I can add to that, I just wanted a little bit of clarification because anytime we're speaking about the downtown mall, which is not the downtown, it is one element of our downtown. We've defined our downtown as not just the Grand Boulevard, but also the 6th Street extending from the circle of our city. And the mall is one of those pieces. And it's very emotional for all of us. We're all very invested in the future of this space. I recognize that we have, there are a lot of restrictions to what we can and cannot do. And we are functioning within our authority to do the best we can. And so I want us to be really clear, and I wanted to pull this item so that we can have staff clarify exactly what this is and what it isn't. So I would appreciate a little presentation.
Sure, Mayor. Jessica Gonzalez, our Economic Development Director, is prepared to speak to this.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. So tonight, the item for your consideration is a third amended and restated disposition and development agreement, as well as a first amendment to the license agreement on the South Mall. As Council and the community is aware, we entered into an agreement with Lab Holdings back in 2017. In recent conversations with the developer, we were made aware of obstacles to fulfilling their obligations on the North Mall. However, the South Mall is progressing, so in terms of clarity between what is being removed or what is being addressed in the Third Amendment, it is that the North Mall would no longer be part of the DDA, that is what's presented for you. The city would take back possession of the properties in the North Mall. The development on the South Mall would continue. There's also presented for your consideration a revised schedule for the South Mall with everything on pace to open up in 2024. And one other component presented for your consideration this evening is also a credit, a $200,000 credit that was provided to the developer for the back parking lot for some improvements at the South Mall. That is now also going back to the city, so the credit is being removed. The developer will continue to pay market rent for that property. Those are the items that are presented for you this evening, and we're happy to address any further questions.
Thank you. I have no further questions. Thank you for clarifying.
Vice Mayor, do you have a question?
Oh, just comments.
Please.
Okay. I don't disagree with anything Joe said. I do think cities can be revitalized. I think our city can be revitalized. I think that the council before us and this council all had hope in the lab, and they didn't deliver what they said they were going to deliver. I did have talks with Crystal Barney on this, and she made some good points, and I feel like I've answered them honestly. This is an interactive society we live in nowadays, so I did get a text from my mother as this was being talked about. She wrote, "Well, I campaigned for you and wrote those letters. I told everybody you were going to fix the downtown, so get to fixing it." And Jim's disappointed just like me. So the goal hasn't changed. When you do campaign, if anyone ever campaigns in Corona, every citizen will tell you they want a new downtown. That's by far and away the number one priority, more than anything. And it's still a priority. This vote tonight doesn't change anything. The desire to deliver on a revitalized downtown remains. And that's my comments.
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you, and I thought Jackie put it perfectly that this isn't the downtown. This is just one piece. I'm still very excited about seeing what the lab will do on the south side. In fact, I think that kicking off and with the tenants they've identified, I think in fact will make it easier for us to develop the rest of that area. And I think it'll still help. I think we were all hoping for a bigger splash, and I want to thank them for their time and effort they put in. I think Jim said it perfectly. If it was easy, it would have been done a long time ago. It's a very, very complicated site with many ownerships and lots of stuff there to handle. And but I do think with actually a functioning and well done South Mall, that we will see a lot of folks interested in seeing what they can do on the north side. And yes, it is the number one thing on Mr. Ellis's list. He hears it from, I know he hears it from the five of us and me, probably more than he wants to. I know staff feels it as well. I know Economic Development Department feels it as well. And this certainly is not going to disappear off of any of our radars. In fact, I think if anything, this is just a hiccup and a pause, and one that's much longer than any of us thought it was going to be. But I'm excited and looking forward to 2024 and the South Mall getting busy and people getting down there and showing that people will show up to. If you build it, they will come. Doing a little Field of Dreams there or something. Not literally Field of Dreams, right, Mr. Ellis? Not fans? Yeah, not fans. So like I said, I'm excited about it, and yes, it is a setback, but happy to be going forward in this manner. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so I'll make the motion.
Second.
Please vote. And that item passes. Next one was pulled by Councilmember Speak on item number 12.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to say what an awesome thing this is, and I I'm hoping Mr. Ellis said, I'm guessing that maybe Ms. Finch can talk about it. If not, I love this. I think it's one of the coolest things that the library does that no one knows about. And I have actually used it myself. And I hope more people use it and we use up every single penny that the state's allowed to us or are allocated to us.
Yeah, Donna can speak to it if you like, yeah.
Yeah, thank you, council member, for pulling this. It is a really exciting program that the library really enjoys implementing. And for those who don't know, the Zip Book program just basically gives us an opportunity to add books to our collection that we don't already have. So if a member of the community that is an active user of our library and has a library card notices or is interested in a book that we don't have in our collection, they can go onto the Zip Book program, fill out a request for us to purchase that book through Amazon, and as long as it meets all of our requirements for books that we provide at the library, then we'll go ahead and purchase it, ship it directly to the customer's home, and they're allowed to keep it for up to 6 months. They can do up to 5 books per year, and then once they're done with that book, then they return it to the library, and then we add it back into our collection. So it's been a really good resource. It's given us an opportunity to identify new books that maybe the community wants to see that we weren't aware of, and has really helped us build up our collection. So we're really excited to have it. This program is funded by a grant from the California State Library, and this item is just to accept that annual award. It's about $22,000.
And I was hoping to do my ceremonial handover of the book that I ordered 6 months ago, but I forgot it. So I think I'm going to be late. So I'll have to see you about paying some fines. But in all seriousness, it's a really great opportunity. If there's a book that you think other people would enjoy and you've enjoyed or want to read, you literally it took me I think 5 minutes to apply for it. You just pasted the link in. You said what it was for. I heard back right away from the city that it was good. It showed up from Amazon like it was mine, and it's fantastic. So I hope a lot of people utilize the service because I think it's a great way to build the library's
Was it Harry
collection.
Potter?
No, actually, it was the African American leisure experiences in Southern California.
I have that. I could have loaned it to you.
See, but now everybody can have it.
Right.
See, there you go. With
So-
that, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Just 1 second. Ms. Finch, please make sure that Councilmember Speak is fined and he pays all the appropriate fines. And really quick, if anybody that's paying attention and wanted to know more, could they find it on the library's website?
Yes, absolutely. We do have a page that discusses how the program works and a flyer with additional information and a link to go in and put the submittal request if anybody's interested in using it.
Just for funsies, is there a possibility that we could find out in a year how many books that we were able to add with this grant? I mean, $22,000 seems to me like it could be a lot of books. I'd love to know what our community is ordering for the library, which is kind of essentially what this is. They're ordering books for the library, right?
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do track that information, and we'd be happy to share that with the council.
Okay. Does comic books, is that part of the deal? Councilmember Steiner asked me to ask that.
So it has to be a book, a large print book. Ebooks don't count, audiobooks don't count. I'd have to check on comic books. I
Okay.
don't know.
Fantastic. Did you want to make the motion?
I want to see public comment.
Ms. Edwards, is there any public comment on this?
Mayor, no, we do not have any speaker cards.
Okay.
Okay, I'll move.
Second.
Okay, the book's passed. Moving on to communications from the public. This portion of the agenda is intended for general public comment on items within the council's jurisdiction that are not listed elsewhere on the agenda. Please note that state law prohibits the city council from discussing or taking action on these items. Please observe a 3-minute time limit for comments, and once called upon to speak, please state your name and city of residence for the record. Ms. Edwards, are there any speaker cards from the public?
Mayor, yes, we have 4 speaker cards for communication from the public.
Okay. Good evening.
Lots of accoutrements today.
We can put a little contract on the back, how we can do the piece today. This is my proposal.
I don't know.
So anyway, I don't know if you guys have been too in the loop other than me telling you guys, and you know how that this is like a cloak of invisibility. Hey, I'm started at 3 minutes. I just got here. That's not cool. We got to reset that. Anyway, this cloak of invisibility to where I can talk to you guys about I've been hit, punched, kicked, assaulted at churches. Nobody even asks anybody questions. Nobody investigates. I am beaten up at home. Nobody investigates. I'm robbed at home. Nobody investigates. Okay? I've lost all civil rights. And now, like I say now, but when I came out of jail after you guys ate me with a dog to keep me from doing this lawsuit, it's a real lawsuit, against Greg Lorry's secretary, It comes up this week, next week, it's like the 14th, you know what I mean? Now, anyway, so it's a real thing, you know what I mean? I wasn't lying to you guys. When I said there's child molesters you guys put in my house, that this guy, he molests people the kids by attacking them in their sleep. Because you know how you can just pick up a kid and do anything with them? Our grandkids and stuff, we have to move them. They're asleep. This guy can do anything in his sleep, but you guys put him in my house. And you ate me with a dog for keeping my family safe from a drug addict. Then you put in house arrest in my house while I was in real arrest. You know what I mean? Well, when I get out and I tell you these things, now this child molester's in my house, that's a real crime. And they didn't do nothing about it. And so that's a crime, guys. And I'm here to say grace. You know what I mean? You owe me. You've been 10 years of crap you've been doing this to me. And, but 240 million. But I'm going to say, give me 2,400,000. You sponsor me on this thing here. Okay, you don't even, oh yeah, I want a special investigator, God-free, to investigate this thing. Turn over evidence on the county, what they did to us, what and what you did to me. And then you get to keep your house, and 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 you get to keep your house. Because I love you guys. If I can't love those that hate me, then my faith is in vain. You know what I mean? And that's what I'm going to try to do. So that's your last chance. You know what I mean? Because this is real stuff. It's real.
Thank you. Thank you. Ms. Edwards, are there any other speaker cards?
Yes, Mayor, we do have more speakers.
All right. Good evening, Corona City Council members. My name is Mateo Meza, and I live in Corona. On behalf of Corona Norco Council PTA, I would like to invite the CNUSD community to the Red Ribbon Family Festival that will be held on Saturday, October 21st. Before I go into details, I would like to share some history about PTA and Red Ribbon Week. In 1926, National PTA passed its first resolution condemning the promotion and sale of tobacco to minors. And in the 1970s, PTA began educating families about the dangers of alcohol abuse. Steadfast to its resolution, PTA was one of the leading supporters of the Red Ribbon campaign, where it began in California. In 1986, the first Red Ribbon Week celebrations were held in La Mirada and Norwalk to commemorate DEA Special Agent Enrique Camarena's ultimate sacrifice in the war against drugs. In 1988, the Red Ribbon campaign went nationwide, making his death the catalyst for what is now the oldest and largest drug prevention campaign in the country. Over 35 years later, Red Ribbon Week celebrations continue to be held every year nationwide from October 23rd to the 31st. Prior to COVID-19, United Neighbors Involving Today's Youth, also known as Unity, hosted the annual Red Ribbon Family Fun Festival in our community for approximately 20 years. The festival was attended by hundreds of families every year, and children of all ages look forward to dressing up in their Halloween costumes and participating in games and activities to promote healthy lifestyles and raise awareness about the dangers of tobacco, alcohol, and drugs. In an effort to reestablish a tradition in our community, Corona Norco Council PTA will be kicking off National Red Ribbon Week by hosting the Red Ribbon Family Festival on Saturday, October 21st from 12 to 4 p.m. The festival will be held at the Corona Historic Civic Center at 815 West 6th Street. Children are encouraged to dress up in their Halloween costumes and participate in games and activities to promote healthy lifestyles and raise awareness about the dangers of vaping, fentanyl, alcohol, and drugs. The event will be free and everyone is welcome to attend. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mateo. Is there any other speakers? Good evening.
And that was pretty impressive. I don't know if I can approach and, speak as impressive as that, but that was amazing. And raising awareness, I think, is always fundamental for the city and the community, right? Righteous. So today I approach City Council in regards to, unfortunately, a dilemma. And I'm hoping that there can be some sort of reconciliation, some sort of just outcome that's favorable and shining a light on an issue that the community is facing. So my name is Desiree Crosby. I am a San Bernardino resident. I do have a sibling that lives out here. My sibling was caring for my service pets while I was out of town on a work assignment. As I returned on the 15th, I was notified that my service animals were in a shelter. So, however they were in the shelter, the Corona Animal Shelter, that's one issue my sibling and I are kind of, working through. But approaching the animal shelter, I spoke to a representative who let me know that to show proof, I showed proof of previous photos, and ultimately, after speaking with the supervisor, after said date and waiting for a phone call from the Department of Justice and the ADA and the supervisor of Corona Animal Shelter, I arrived yesterday 3 days ago, to find a resolution, and ultimately I was denied to receive my service animals back after I informed them that they were my service animals, and I shouldn't be held responsible for the cost of them being there, but I can be held responsible for any type of vaccinations, update on vaccinations, any finances or fees that had to do with chipping and certain, standards that they follow in that regards. So as I spoke to Ms. Devin Perdermo, she informed me that I was being denied my animals returned to me, and she offered me to adopt other animals. And I will accept adopting other animals, but I will deny receiving my service animals returned to me. And I'm hoping that we can come together some way, shape, or form as a community, and as you guys are the community leaders, I'm hoping that we can work this issue out, because I guess that's an issue that should be made aware to the leaders of the community of Corona. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Ellis, I would
We'll have staff
normally
follow
ask
up.
Chief Newman, but maybe Captain Mercado could follow up.
We'll make sure we follow up tonight.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening. How you all doing?
Great.
I'm Don Fuller. I'm a resident here. I just wanted to put in a little good word for an event that's going to be happening in here tomorrow night, Community Conversations. It's one of the best things that the city does all year long. There have been, I think, 4 of them so far, 2 of them on the African-American community and 1 on Hispanic issues, and then there was the other one on Pacific Islanders and Asian Americans, and they've all been really good programs. And so tomorrow will be the program, another one with the Hispanic community. And I just want to put in a word for that. It's a great deal. I think everybody ought to come. I hope they fill up the room. And Joe Morgan and I are working on putting together one for old guys with race cars. So we'll see if we can work that one into the program. So otherwise, that's all. I just want to put in a word for some of the nice things the city does. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Ms. Edwards, is there any more speaker cards?
Yes, Mayor, we have one more speaker card.
Mr. Fuller was less loquacious than usual. So, just so you know, I didn't claim that I built Riverside downtown. I was there during the formative years. Okay, I was there. I was working in City Hall. You can smirk about it. You can think it's funny. It's not funny. I put in several years working there. So, you know, I had talked to a lot of people on the academic side because I was going to UCR at the time, taking a lot of the same classes that you took. So if it was easy, our city wouldn't have done it. We've taken the easy route out. We've gone to consultant after consultant after consultant after consultant. We've gone to developer after developer. We've never had a vision. We've never had anybody sitting up there. You know what happened to Riverside? It was Ab Brown and Ron Leverage said, nope, we're not tearing down downtown. That's how it started. And they had a vision for what it could be. Somebody planted a flag. Nobody's planted a flag. You could say, well, hey, the mall's just, it's just part of it. It's just one little piece of downtown. But I was sat in a meeting today in the multipurpose room and saw an example of what happens when a city plants a flag. You guys planted a flag and you invested in the homeless prevention program, the homelessness program. You planted a flag and money follows it. You've never planted a flag downtown. This city has never planted a flag. You've never said, this is what we're going to do. You've never given anybody anything for anybody to rally around. Everybody thinks all these plans are a joke because they're a joke, because they're just plans in a vacuum. You hire another consultant and you hire another consultant and you ask them to tell you what's going to happen downtown. What could this possibly be? Because nobody wants to plant a flag and say, this is what we should do. Straighten goddamn Main Street back out. Put it right through the middle of it. Put it back. Have a vision. Say, look, I want to do something like Fullerton did. I want to do something like Brea did. Pick a damn downtown and say, I want to do that. They did it. We can do it. This inferiority complex that we've had, but God, it's really hard. It is hard. It took, 20 years for university to happen? You can't even recognize it anymore. That's good. It wasn't good before. I remember when that specific plan was passed. And there was only the people really in the room kind of knew what was going on, but they had a plan. We're going to do this, and then they worked towards it. They acquired property, and they moved toward it, took step after step after step. And it was done publicly. None of this is being done publicly. It's just like, well, hey, we got a plan. We're hiring the Disney interns. We'll just make Main Street one lane. Maybe build a concert thing. Meanwhile, we're going to do everything at Dos Lagos. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Ms. Edwards, are there any more speaker cards?
Mayor, we do not have any more speaker cards.
Okay, moving on to public hearings, there are none. Administrative reports, there are none. Legislative matters. An ordinance amending 1.04.160 and 1.04.170 of the Corona Municipal Code to adopt a new city corporate seal. Does any council member want a staff report? Okay. Sean Hull, our Chief Communications Officer, will present the report.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Do we have the clicker? Cool. So in our report, we'll just put up the seal to look at. So the staff report asks the City Council to approve an ordinance of the City of Corona to amend Section 1.04, 1604, and 1.04, 0.70 of the Corona Municipal Code to adopt the new city corporate seal. So a little background of the seal. Let me look at the date. The original seal that we had before this was adopted in 1991. And since then, we went through a long process of community engagement, engaging with over 2,200 residents, and then got feedback on what the new seal should look like. We went through a design process with an agency, Pastilla, came back on feedback on the motifs and the different elements that needed to be incorporated in the seal. Those things were lemons, the circle, which is our historic downtown and our crown, and then our mountains. And so we incorporated all that in the seal. We've come back and just recently got consensus or approval on this design at a recent study session. And now we're here to adopt and officially adopt the seal and read it. This is the first reading of the ordinance. So.
Ms. Edwards, are there any speaker cards from the public?
Mayor, we do not have any speaker cards.
I just wanted to thank Sean. Yeah, I mean, this is not an easy project. You know, I've been hearing all the grousing and everything about people who they kind of dropped in and said, oh, what's this? And it's different. And this needed to be done. This whole branding exercise needed to be done. You know, we needed this. I think 1991, they took the nuclear symbol off or something. It was, you know, it was the same thing that we had from the 60s or something. It's ridiculous. And it was time to go. And I've been watching this from the beginning. And so I want to thank Sean and the crew. It was fun to watch. And these particular consultants, because they're not the regular, you know, rubber stamp, photocopy, cut, paste consultants, they went after it. These guys did more stuff than anybody I've ever seen in this room. You know, met with more people and did more work, you know, so hats off. You know, there was never going to be a seal or a logo that everybody was going to like, you know, but, you know, a couple years from now, everybody's going to go, oh, that's our seal. So thank you very much for your hard work.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Virginia Caridi. I live here in Corona. Where's the crown on the seal? Where's the crown on the seal? Oh, I don't see a crown on the seal that was just put up there. I see one right there that's in front of you. Okay, I think the crown is cultural, maybe to my Latino brain, because I know that crown means corona, and corona means crown, and I think there's a cultural attachment to it there. And anyone who is opposing this crown that really looks like a crown, I don't understand how you can say to somebody, that can't be part of your identity anymore because I can't relate to it. The crown is very much part of the Latino experience. That's my personal opinion, because we know what corona means. And it's even on one of the, what was that packing label? I have one framed in my house where it says Corona Crown and it's got oranges on the bottom or whatnot. Anyway, I'm very partial to a crown that actually looks like a crown, in large part because that is the name of our city. And I think, like again, I'm saying my Spanish-speaking brain is saying, yeah, that's Corona. But anyway, I guess if it's already been decided, that's too bad. Thank you.
Thank you. Do you have any questions or comments from my colleagues?
Yes.
Councilmember Speak.
I want to say thanks again to staff and to the consultant did a great job and really pulled a lot of people. And yeah, I read all the complaints on both the branding and the seal. And you know, I wasn't here for the study session. I did have just one comment. I do like the mountains, the way they were portrayed. It does show the crown, and I think it was Councilmember Casillas said it, you know, in the, you know, I think in the study session about how the crown wasn't ever a literal thing, that it meant the circle, it meant the way that I mean, frankly, if you look at some early writings about where, when people were talking about the word Corona, they talked about being ringed with mountains. So I'm fine with this. I think that we needed to simplify. I would ask, I was up in Sacramento last week, and I'm walking around with my city shirt on, and I just went around and asked people, what do you think all this means? And a lot of people just said, I don't know. There's a lot going on there. So this, I think, is a good representation of, simplifying and really kind of symbolizing, and I'm happy to see the lemon on there. The one thing I think I mentioned during the first time we looked at this was I really wanted to see some reference to the Circle City. We had that as one of our taglines. And I do see that we have the circle, but it's hard to tell what it is because you can't really see, the streets. But that's my only comment, and I know you guys did. I wasn't here last or 2 weeks ago to give my comments, but that would be the only thing I'd like to see. But I know we're adopting today, but I don't know if my colleagues feel any differently. But that's, other than that, I think that it's a good representation, and I think in 5 years or a couple years, just like we saw the outrage when we pulled the fountain out that everybody hated when it was first put in, that we'll see this get embraced too. So thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Steiner?
Yes, Virginia, I'm with you. And I said that at the study session, but we voted on it, and it didn't get a majority of the votes. I was put at ease a little bit after Councilman Richens gave his history update on the Crown and downtown and the Circle. And I still like a Crown better, but at least you made a little bit of sense with that. So we lost, Virginia. Sorry.
I hope you do give the lesson right now about the history of the Crown. But I want to first thank staff for all of the work that you guys have done on branding. And it's been a long process, and it hasn't been just about the seal or the logo. It's been community engagement, so that we're reflecting in our communication who we believe ourselves to be and where we believe we want to go. And so it's this like soft science of like these intangible things with thousands of opinions to come up with something that is a cohesive narrative of our aspirational selves. So I can recognize how exhausting that exercise probably was for the entire communications team. I applaud you. We've reached the end. Reminding everyone, and myself included, that the elements were the seals and the logo, the typeface, the color scheme, and really where it is that how we want to present ourselves. And also the very difference between a seal and the logo, which got lost, I think, on a lot of us. The crown is not gone. It's above the letter C in the logo. It's getting used a lot. It's just no longer in the seal, and it was never a literal thing for our city. And I'll let the historian share the results of that. But what I see here in the seal now is an actual representation of our city as the former lemon capital of the world. We were never the orange and it just would grind my gears every time I'd see that orange. So I'm glad that the orange is gone. I'm glad that the lemon is there. I'm glad that it's a professional, clean-looking seal. I'm glad that our beautiful mountains are included. It's a thing that we have that no one around us does. And, as the city of trails, we're just going to call it, it's good to see that included in our seal. And I'm excited about the use of the logo, which is something we voted on prior. In our communications, how we're incorporating the crown, how we're incorporating the letter C. One of the things with the seal that I wanted to see, and the reason why we've lost that Main Street, if everyone is, I don't know if you can pull it back up. In a previous iteration, the seal had it had a path leading to the circle, and that was a throw to the logo. because if you, on the side, it would make a letter C. But because our seal cuts off the top and the bottom of the seal, then it's harder to see it. So I'm glad that we're losing that in the final version. But I really do think that given how extensive this process has been, how thorough it has been, how difficult it is, and really what it is that we're trying to showcase with the seal only, not the logo, not the rest of it, I think we really, we did it right. So I'm looking forward to seeing this on our official documents, which is where it will be mostly shown. So kudos. Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys' work.
Vice Mayor, 1 second. Councilmember Speak needed to add something else.
Sorry, just one thing. I wanted to, just to put at the end, I wanted to ask the city manager after we do this about the implementation, because that was one of the things that people ask me about, how we're going to implement, how fast, because of the expense. And I just wanted to put it out there, at least get a report back that we're not going to go out and be spending a bunch of money right now. And I'd like for us to hear what that plan is on how we're going to be putting the logo and maybe actually seeing an actual cost of what we'll be doing and when. Doesn't mean that right now, but.
No, obviously, we don't have a plan to present you now with all of that detail,
Sure.
but we did put funding in the budget for it, and this is something that we do intend to spend some money on to implement. Obviously, we didn't adopt a seal to not then use it, but we're also not going to go out and just spend a ton of money to just start ripping things out that are already there. And so a lot of the implementation that you see when it comes to uniforms, when it comes to trucks and vehicles, that'll be over time. And this won't be done overnight. But we can certainly come back and share with the council sort of a broad plan of how we intend to implement that. It's shocking when you go around our city just how many places have our old seal on them.
Everywhere.
It's on everything. And so we'll need to be thoughtful about how we replace that at appropriate times. We don't want it to take too long because we do have a new brand and a new program and a new seal, and we want to embrace that. But at the same time, we need to be judicious about the funds that are spent on that. And so we'll be thoughtful about that. And we'd be happy to come back and share that with council.
I would love to get a detailed on what we're going to spend and where this fiscal year, and then maybe when we do the budget next year, to get exactly so we can actually discuss what we think should be and where.
Absolutely, happy to.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. I know Virginia was at the last meeting, the study session, so she doesn't need to hear me lecture on the history of the Crown too much, but I would like to share some history. It was, there were 2 orange trees that were shipped from the federal government to the city of Riverside, and one of them is still alive, and those two citrus trees that were shipped to Eliza Tibbetts of Riverside started the whole citrus industry in Southern California. Every orange tree, or most orange trees, goes back to those 2 citrus trees. So when the founders of Corona came to our city, they said, well, let's be South Riverside, and for marketing purposes, we'll tie into that birthplace of the citrus industry. What most people don't know is a lot of Corona wasn't designed in Riverside, and a lot of Corona wasn't even designed here. A lot of Corona was designed in Anaheim, and at the time it was called the Anaheim Colony. And every original street name for our town was picked in Anaheim. And so it was called the Anaheim Colony. They came here, they built the circle, and the nickname then was Queen Colony, because it was the Queen, the circle being the crown, Queen Colony. And Anaheim Colony, that was the distinction. So this seal shows the birthplace of Corona. The Queen, the nickname Queen Colony, came from the circle. That was the crown. When it came time to change the name of the city, it was Flagler that said, you have a circle, Corona is crown, the crown is the circle. So it's there. It's not how Virginia is saying it should be there, and she makes a point, and it's to be taken with interest. For me, personally, I always love it when high school kids go off to college and then on their way back home, they say, hey, I'm coming back home to Crown Town. I always love the word Crown Town. And it's cool. And it'll always be Crown Town. It'll always be Circle City. It'll always be the Queen Colony, actually. So I truly believe that any seal could be made better, but I really love this a lot. I think it captures Corona like it should. And if Virginia doesn't beat me up, I believe the Crown is in there. So I'll leave it at that.
Thank you. So this motion does need to be read, and I'll read it. Introduced by title only and waive full reading of ordinance number 3379. First reading of an ordinance approving amendments to Corona Municipal Code, Chapter 1.04, .160, and 1.04.170 to adopt a new city corporate seal, and I'll move.
Second?
Okay, that item passes. Okay, moving on to boards and commissions, reports from city council commissioners and staff. Library Board of Trustees, there are none. Planning and Housing Commission, there are none. Parks and Rec Commission, there are none. Regional meeting report, an update from Councilmember Jackie Casillas on the Western Riverside Council of Governments, WRCOG, meeting of October 2nd, 2023.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. This happened on just a couple of days ago. A couple things to report back. So we had a staff report on the streetlight operation and maintenance service that WRCOG performs for some member agents. So this is where the agency WRCOG essentially bundles up different cities' streets, lights, and they bundle the contract, and then the cities pay WRCOG. WRCOG pays this contract, and it just helps cities get their streetlights. So the contract was up. It went off to RFP. They went through Planet Bids, and what happened was the same thing that happens with us, which is it gets sent to hundreds of possible bidders, and then you get less than a handful to actually download, and then you actually end up with like maybe one bidding. So staff presents on this. I sit on the admin committee, and so before it came to the executive committee, I made a comment, and I used a best practice that we use here in Corona, which is it's really lamentable when there isn't competition. It's not good for the taxpayers. It's just not good for our democracy when there is no competition. And so what can we do to try to increase that competition with these bidders in the RFP process? Something that we do in Corona, which I would like to see WRCOG do, which is, follow up with the folks who downloaded the RFP but did not submit. Ask them why they did not submit. See if there's some improvement that we can make in our process. So between admin committee and executive, which was on Monday, staff did that. Unfortunately, we didn't get feedback, but it is becoming a policy. And so that's one of the cool things about sitting in these regional commissions is that we can take best practices or lessons learned in our individual cities and offer them at these JPAs and ideally get them incorporated. So I wanted to share that we're getting that done. It didn't solve this problem. It still had one bidder, but we're getting better at it. We also had a report by staff on the current PACE program refund. I don't know how to say this word. Achievements. It's essentially when we. So remember, PACE is that solar program that went bust for the residents. So we're no longer running that. So sometimes folks who have these assessments end up paying a little bit more, and then there's like a refund that goes to them, but they end up just not claiming this refund. And so WRCOG as a committee, as a commission, has decided, although legally the JPA could take those funds and use them for services, we decided to put them in this achievement, whatever it's called. I could spell it, but I genuinely cannot pronounce it, which sends the funds to the state of California, where people can search for them indefinitely and get those funds now or 10 years from now. And those monies are still theirs to be claimed. So it was a policy decision we made. I'm proud of the fact that Those dollars are still there for those residents whenever they decide to actually claim them. And I want to say that the city of Corona, actually, for this last cycle, has 20 unclaimed returns. So I'm working to see if there's a legal way for me to get those 20 Coronans' names so I can just knock on their doors and tell them that they have money waiting for them. So I'm working on that. I know they will. They'll be like, who are you and what do you want? But if there are 20 Coronans who gave more money, then they should have this money back. So I'm trying to find that. But if you are ever curious, you probably know this website from the state of California. You can just pop in your information and see if there's any unclaimed funds. So anyway, that's it. Those are the two things I wanted to report out on. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember Casillas. For those of you that don't know, everybody knows about our history nerds that are on the city council, but I would say that Councilmember Casillas is our resident policy nerd. So anytime that she can flex those muscles, she does. And I have faith in you. If I could learn to say emprendedores, emprendedores, you could learn to say whatever word it is that you can't say. Okay, moving on to an update from Councilmember Jim Steiner on the Riverside Transit Agency RTA Board meeting of September 28th, 2023.
Thank you. Well, the day's almost over, but RTA is offering free bus rides today to promote California Clean Air Day. It's an annual event that raises awareness in the importance of clean air for our health and the environment. RTA encourages everyone to join the effort by using public transit today. So if you're feeling especially ambitious, hop on a bus to get home tonight. It's also Rideshare Week, so RTA encourages everyone to pledge to take public transit, carpool, vanpool, walk, or bike at least one day this week. Don't forget that all RTA customers ride for free every Friday. By using the Go Mobile app, customers get unlimited free rides anywhere RTA buses go anytime that they operate. As public transit continues to rebound from the pandemic, RTA ridership is showing no signs of slowing down. During August, RTA buses carried 516,000 boardings, which is an increase of nearly 22% compared to the same month just a year ago. And finally, the RTA board approved modernization of the elevator at the Corona Transit Center on East Grand. This elevator provides customers access to a bridge that connects with the Metrolink station on the other side of the railroad tracks. The operating panel and button modernization will make it easier for customers to use the elevator and extend its life of the elevator. And Chief Young, this is good news for our firefighters, and maybe this will be 1 or 2 less calls per week to rescue somebody out of the elevator at the Metrolink station. So that completes my report.
Thank you, Councilmember Steiner. Next is an update from myself on the Western Riverside County Regional Conservation Authority RCA meeting of October 2nd, 2023. It was a very uneventful meeting. We hadn't had a meeting in a couple of months, and so we were looking for some updates. The legislative update from both the state and the federal wasn't really a great outcome. Obviously, there's not a whole lot of money for conservation. The two bills that Congressman Calvert and Senator Feinstein had championed for conservation both did not pass. Wasn't the word that they used, but both did not pass. And so we are kind of scrambling in order to come up with funding from both state and federal resources. We did get some grant approval for some of the purchases that we did need to make, but overall, the budget is in question. So hopefully that we will get a little bit more clarity coming up. Moving on, I'm sorry, Ms. Edwards, are there any speaker cards from the public for the regional updates?
Mayor, we do not have any speaker cards.
Mr. Derleth, did you have any comments? No? Mr. Ellis?
No, Mayor, thank you.
I'm sure my colleagues have something to say. Councilmember Speak?
I will just say that I want to apologize. Well, let's see, a congratulations and an apology. So congratulations to our city clerk for her celebrating her 20 years earlier this week. Thank you very much for your service. And an apologies for not getting my list of, a massive list of buildup because I didn't do it last council meeting. I know you guys are really sad.
No apology necessary.
So So in 2 weeks, I will have a mega update, and especially on the League of Cities meeting as well. And then, let's see, and I know we haven't promoted it yet. I know I heard it at the library meeting yesterday, which I think, actually, this is really cool. It's one of the first times, or I think it is the first time that we're holding, it's called Spirits and Spirits. So if you're Halloween inclined, they're going to be hosting a haunted history event at the library on the 20th. It's the 20th at 7 o'clock from 7 to 8, and they're going to be serving a specially designed Corona cocktail. So you can come in, you can learn a little bit about haunted libraries, including our own, and have a Corona-themed cocktail at the library at night.
You got to say why it's haunted.
Well, I mean, there's a couple of things, but I don't know if we want to get into that now. But there's one, there was a gentleman that shot himself where the children's section is. And then another person that the last time they did a thing there, we found that there was another gentleman who had also shot himself at another part of the library. So other fun stuff. But they're not going to be showing up. It'll just be good stories and a good time, and there'll be an active podcast going on at the library as well.
Spirits and Spirits? Is that what
Spirits and Spirits.
Okay.
Right? You like that? It's good. So on October 20th.
Thank you. Councilmember Steiner. Councilmember Casillas. Vice Mayor.
I got all sorts of stuff. This last week, we celebrated the Historic Civic Center turning 100 years old. It was good to see everybody there. If you don't know, the Corona Symphony Band practices there. If you haven't seen these guys, I'm putting the plug in for them now. They practiced while the Historic Civic Center was doing its birthday, and the waiver person pulled a groin muscle, so I stepped up. I conducted.
The waiver person? That's pretty technical right there. I like that.
Something like that.
Yeah.
So I'd like to put a plug in if they ever need a director, I am available. And then Wes and I were able to attend the St. Matthew's 50-year anniversary. Former Mayor Dick Haley stepped up and issued the proclamation, and that was good. And then this is going to sound like a weird request. My middle child called my wife a Karen the other day, and I don't want to get into that level. But the library.
Is he still with us? Middle child.
I almost wasn't because I laughed at it, but the library did a program the other day called Bring Your Plushie to the library. And then you drop off your plushie, and then staff takes pictures of your plushie, like reading a book or vacuuming the halls. I don't know. But I would have brought Blueberry had I known. And I'm hoping that program, I don't want to sound like a Karen, but I want to ask for that program to come back. So that, you got to be 7-year-old. A stuffed animal is a plushie, so if, I know you all have plushies, and so if that program can come back, that would be great. Thanks.
Okay. Just a few comments for myself. Just want to touch on the anniversary was great, but one of the things that I really loved is the programming that is going to happen at the Historic Civic Center through 2024. Ms. Finch, can they find that on the city website under Parks? If I want to shout that out because I thought that was really great. I want people to see the calendar.
Yes, Mayor. So we're working on a page right now that will have information on all of the programming that we have planned for the theater over the course of the year. So once we have that information, probably by next week, we're putting links to where people can purchase tickets.
Okay.
So we just need to get that finalized, and we will be sending out an announcement to the community announcing the full season.
Thank you. I hope that anybody that's listening takes advantage of that. There was 2 or 3 events on there that I saw that were brand new, and I'm looking forward to that. I wanted to also say this is one of the greatest events that I think the city holds, which is the Household Hazardous Waste. on October 14th and the 15th. You have no idea how valuable that is. Yeah, I am telling you, you know, when you don't know what to do with some of that old paint or random thing that's in a coffee cup or coffee can, then this is a great place and space and time to get rid of that. And also, October 14th is the city Halloween event, and I believe that's going to be on the lawn between current City Hall and the historic. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. It'll be on the south lawn of City Hall on that Saturday. I believe it is the 14th, beginning at 5 p.m.
Yeah. And then I just wanted to thank Director Compu. We had a conversation today with the Army Corps of Engineer. We got on a Zoom call with the new Colonel of the Army Corps of Engineer, Colonel Baker, and had a great discussion about some of the things that are happening with the dike, because we didn't like the update that we got last week, or I didn't like the update that we got last week. So we're going to get some more information out to the community regarding the Alcoa dike systems and a couple of the things that we're working on with the Army Corps of Engineer. So that being said, the next meeting for City Council is the Fall Policy Workshop on Thursday, October 12th, 2023, here in Chambers, I believe. Yep. And this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.